What's up, Cyclones fans? This is Billy Harner. I'm the Director of Communications here for the Brooklyn Cyclones. We're getting ready for 2020, which is going to be a big year here at the ballpark. It's our 20th season of Cyclones baseball. It's crazy to say, even crazier to think about that this ballpark is 20 years old. This team is going to be 20 years old. It's going to be a fun year here at the ballpark, obviously, as we celebrate last year's championship, but also we look back at the last 19 seasons of Cyclones baseball, with this year being our 20th season. So to kind of kick that off as we get ready for the new year and starting the 2020 season, we thought we'd get started with a fun little contest that we'll have here with our fans here on social media as we try to make a all-decade team for the Brooklyn Cyclones, looking from 2010 to 2019. However you want to make your team is up to you, whether it's performance on the field, guys you liked, players you saw that played here and then played in the big leagues. It's completely up to you. That's what's going to make this fun. So to get things started, I kind of came up with my own team. I've been here since 2011. So I know there's a lot of guys in the 2010 team, Daryl Siciliani, Corey Vaughn, Ryland Sandoval, a bunch of different guys that were pretty popular here with the fans, but I wasn't here for them. So none of them made my list. So to get things started, I'll give, we thought it would be fun, one player at every position. We'll do a DH, and then we'll do one starting pitcher and one relief pitcher. Each day leading up to January 1st, we'll have a different position. And then when we get back here after the New Year's, when the office opens up after the holidays, we'll put together our team and share with everybody here on social. So my catcher on my team would be Kevin Plawecki. He played here in the early 2000s here with or early 2010s, I guess, with Brandon Nimmo and Kevin Plawecki were the two high-profile draft picks on that team. I always loved Kevin. He was a really nice guy. Worked really hard. Had a lot of media demands because he was a first-round pick playing here in Brooklyn. So I was always a fan of Kevin's. For first base, I'm going to go with Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso was an all-star here. He's been an all-star in the big leagues. He just set the record for all-time home runs by a rookie. I always like when you're here and you see guys that just get drafted and see guys that are on their way to the big leagues, and you get to know and get to see them first. And it makes it cool when you can say, oh yeah, I knew back in 2016 that Pete Alonso was going to be a big leaguer, and I saw him hit a home run over the scoreboard during batting practice, or I saw him in Aberdeen when he hit a home run off the roof of the clubhouse in left field. So you always feel like you got a stock tip or something where that this guy's going to be a big league star. So I was always a fan of Pete Alonso and seeing guys like him. Second base, I'm going to go a little off the grid. I'm going to go with guys. Part of my job is getting players for autographs and getting players for birthday parties and getting guys to go do community appearances and things like that. So Nick Sergakis was here, and he was drafted out of Ohio State. He was a captain at Ohio State. He was, a Buckeye that was beloved by the fans there. And then he came here and continued to do the same kind of stuff on the field. He was, a scrappy guy. He was got hit by a lot of pitches. He stole bases. He was making diving plays, stuff like that. And then he always was willing to help out here at the ballpark and with whatever we need here at the stadium. So he was my guy. For third base, I'm going to go with Brian Harrison. My first year here was 2011. Brian was here in 2010 and 2011. He was great on the field. He was a good player for the team. But in 2011, when it was my first year here, he was one of the guys that I relied on and somebody that was always willing to help with whatever we needed. And he was just a fun guy to be around and a really nice guy. And I'll always remember after Superstorm Sandy, Brian came back here and was in the parking lot and was helping hand out stuff and really just a part of what this Coney Island and Brooklyn community and this family that we've built here, what that's become over the years. For shortstop, I have two guys, so it's my own team. I can make it up whatever I want. It's our own game that we're playing, so you can mess around with it however you want. Ahmed Rosario, obviously he was great here. He was really young when he came here. He was a really skinny kid. He looked like he was a teenager, and to sort of see him from get to that point to where he's in the big leagues and being being a successful major leaguer is pretty cool. But I always liked Phil Evans too when he played here. He was a really nice guy. Was a good player on the field as well, but just a fun guy, a nice guy. He was great with fans. He was great with people in the front office. So I was always a fan of his as well. For the outfield, I'm going to go with Brandon Nimmo. I'm going to go with Michael Conforto. And then last year we had a couple of guys in Antoine Duplantis and Jake Mangum that were, just great guys. And they were interesting in that they had their own fan base before they came here. So they got to introduce the Cyclones to a whole new world, so to speak, between the Mississippi State and LSU and just SEC fans in general, because they are on the Mount Rushmore of SEC guys. So it was cool to have them here, and they were both so great to deal with. And I still see stuff that they're doing on social media when they post things, and it's great to see not only that they're good baseball players, but they're just great guys in general. Same thing goes with Brandon and Michael as well. Brandon Nimmo was first overall pick, or first round pick, when he came here. And he was a teenager. He was from Wyoming. He was sort of just thrown into the big city, and it was a little bit of a culture shock for him. And just to see him go from a little uncomfortable to start the season and grow into somebody who was, by the time the season was over, was performing at honestly an all-star level, was great. And to see his development and just the way he plays the game and how he just works every day to get better. He's been a fun guy to watch. And Michael Conforto was one of the guys when he was here, and you saw his swing and you heard the sound during batting practice and you saw the way he played the game. You just knew that he was a different kind of guy. Some guys when they take batting practice, you just hear the sound. If I'm up on the concourse doing the dry erase boards or dropping stuff off in the press box or wherever I'm going in the stadium, and you can hear a crack of the bat, sometimes who it is. Michael was one of those guys, and he's been a great person to interact with here as a front office member with the Cyclones, as a fan of the Mets, and just as a guy to see him develop as a person and as a player over the last few years has been awesome. For my DH, I'm going to go with Michael Katz. Michael Katz was here for a few years, dealing with some injuries, but he was one of the nicest guys that I've ever dealt with in sports, and he was a guy that you rooted for, and a guy that just got the outside the line stuff. The way he interacted with fans. After Superstorm Sandy, we did some baseball camps, baseball clinics over in Breezy Point with their little leagues, and I vividly remember being out there, and he just gets what it means to be a professional baseball player. And he would sign autographs, and it would just be a picture of a cat, which is one of my favorite things that we've done here over the years. It was just fun to be around him. He was a good guy, always willing to help. He came back last year, I think, to throw a first pitch in his second life now as a professional outside of the baseball world. So that was cool to have him here. And then for pitchers, I'm going to go with Hansel Robles. He was one of the best pitchers we've ever had on the mound. He won the Triple Crown and home run, as a pitcher, with his strikeouts, ERAs, and wins. He was unbelievable. He went basically 6 weeks of the season without allowing an earned run through a complete game shutout in the playoffs. He was unreal. Obviously, he went on to the Mets and was a reliever there, and now he's with the Angels and had some success last year. So always root for guys that were here, whether they're with the Mets or not. So it's good to see him sort of rebounding in his career and get another shot at it. And then I'm also going to go with last year. We had Garrison Bryant, who was he was fun to be around. He was up in the press box charting a bunch during the year, where I tend to be during games. So I just liked interacting with him. He was a really nice guy. He was a very interesting person. Knew a lot of things outside of baseball. Was very opinionated. So it was good to have discussions with him about different things, not just baseball. So I enjoyed interacting with him. And then for my reliever, I'm going to go with Andrew Edwards, just because he was on the mound when we won our first undisputed championship here with the Cyclones, and his run to end the season between getting us into the playoffs and then in the playoffs was something that you rarely see in terms of his productivity, and he was nearly unhittable. I told him after the game, after we won the championship game, that he was a bad man, and then he really pitched like it to attend the season. So that is my all-decade team for the Brooklyn Cyclones. I know there's a bunch of guys that you probably have that are different from mine. I also, for my super subs, I'll just add them because there's some other, all-time favorite guys that we've had here. Were Angel Manzanares and Ishti Arena. Were two guys that, weren't big names that played here, didn't play every day, but just being around them and how friendly they were and how nice they were, and just guys you like and guys you root for, and guys that really know what it means to be a professional baseball player, and what it means to be a member of the Cyclones family. So they're not guys that you may see in the big leagues, or guys that are going to be in all-star games or win home run derbies like Pete Alonso, but they're guys that have been part of our fabric here, and what has made us so successful over the last 19 seasons, and get us ready for our 20th season. Those are guys that have been here from the beginning, and your favorite player here and your all-time team might be guys that gave you your first autograph, or guys who gave you a foul ball one day. It's up to you. It's your own list. So let us know what you think. Share your favorites, and let's get ready for the 20th season and make it something that we'll never forget. Let's go Cyclones.